AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon here in about 15 minutes. Ben McDonald next hour. Tons of draft stuff to get to, but let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, we got a lot of news to get to today. 2 season-ending injuries for the LSU baseball team that we'll get to. Jay Johnson announcing on his coach's show Monday night. Cooper Moore shut down for the year. And then we reported earlier today over at LouisianaSports.net that Jake Brown with a broken hamate bone is having surgery and also done for the season. So a bad gets worse for the LSU baseball Tigers in what is a very, very, very forgettable season. So we'll get to that as we move throughout the course of the show today. Better news. Lane Kiffin's Tigers were back on the practice field. On Tuesday, we had media availability. And the offense just keeps on improving. Lane Kiffin garnered an awful lot of headlines early in spring when the offense was not really performing very well. And Kiffin kind of preached patience and talked about how it was going to take time. And that was something that a lot of people sort of use this word loosely, mocked him for. But he was quick to clarify. He's not saying it was going to take years, but it was going to take time. Well, you're starting to see that. After 2 Saturdays ago, the scrimmage that was just dominated by the LSU defense. 5 turnovers 5 interceptions, a lost fumble, a missed field goal. It was a very bad day 2 Saturdays ago. Last week, the offense kind of punched at their own weight. And then Saturday's scrimmage was a day where the offense won the day. And then Tuesday out at practice, that trend really continued. A couple of notes, and I'll get into what we saw in some of the team period. Whit Weeks was back. That was great to see. He's sort of ramped up here throughout spring from just watching with a jersey on to doing work off to the side with trainers to now participating in the individual period. So Whit did all the linebacker drills but did not participate in the 11-on-11. It's clear he's not limited in any way. They're just being careful with him. That's great to see. Tamarcus Cooley, who was absent at practice last week, went through stretch Saturday at the scrimmage but did not participate. He did the individual work today but not the teamwork. So he did all the safety drills but did not do any of the 11-on-11 or 7-on-7. Jace Thomas replaced him. I actually asked Lane Kiffin after practice about the safety rotations, and he even talked about them holding Ty Benefield. They held him out of some drills today just because they don't need Ty Benefield out there running around in spring doing drills, and it gets a lot of the younger guys reps. So that's good to see. Trey Wilson, the Florida transfer receiver, and Winnie Watkins, both of them in gold no-contact jerseys along with Trey'Dez Green. None appear limited in any way, but I don't know if it's precautionary or something else. Lane not very forthcoming with injuries. It's something he reiterated to us today. But those guys were in gold, but were participating. And then William Satterwhite was absent again. He's the transfer center from Tennessee. So he had been running as the second-team center. So was Satterwhite out. The freshman Ryan Moret took the second-team reps at center. Sam Levitt continues to be out at practice, just observing, doing what he can, but not actually participating really in any of the activities as he overcomes the Liz Frank. Dylan Jones and Harlem Berry continue to take reps with the ones. It's Stacey Gage and Caden Durham with the twos, or if they goes ones, twos, threes, you're seeing interchangeably Jones and Berry with the ones, twos, and then you'll see Caden Durham with the threes. Very clearly at this point with 2 spring practices to go, your top 2 options are Dylan Jones, Harlem Berry, Dylan Jones, in whatever order. Caden Durham is very clearly your third. Some other things that we got to see today, it was interesting. We got to watch the quarterback, wide receiver DB one-on-one drills where you explained this before, where it's just a receiver against a DB. It's a drill that's heavily skewed toward the offense. There's no pass rush. There's no safety help. It's just the receiver and the quarterback know the route. The defensive back doesn't, and they go one-on-one. And this was a day where the offense won 7 times and the defense won 6, so pretty evenly matched, which was, I guess, good to see. Trey Wilson had an amazing move where he just burned DJ Pickett on a double move, and that's no small task. The two matched up again later. Pickett was all over it, forced an incompletion. Great to see that that matchup head-to-head. I continue to be impressed by Haven Finney. He had a one-on-one rep with Phillip Wright where he was just in Phillip Wright's hip pocket, reached across him with his left arm, batted the ball into the ground. You could just see this guy who should be a junior in high school right now just belongs physically, and he's only going to keep getting better. Best rep was probably Roman Mothershed. He crossed over P.J. Woodland for an easy score. Now, Woodland did beat Mothershed on a previous rep where he was beaten but had a really nice recovery. So you're seeing a real competitive battle, which is good to see. I pointed out before, 2023 when they did that drill, the offense never lost. And part of it was clearly, it was Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas and Kyron Lacey. And the other part of it was like Deuce Chestnut over there. And that was a pretty good indication. 7 banks. Yeah, that's why you lost every rep over there. It was, a first-round draft picks going against dudes that could not play at this level. They did an inside run drill, which is exactly what it sounds. It's 11 on 11, and they're running inside the tackles. So that's a drill that's heavily skewed toward the defense. I mean, everyone on the field knows where the ball is going. So this is one that is just about toughness. It's about gaining short yardage. And Dylan Jones is the first-team running back. We did see a fight with Stefylan Green and Weston Davis. Lane told us after practice Davis ran with the second team when they went 11 on 11 after this for, as he said, throwing a punch. We just saw the scuffle on the ground. But in any event, a good period. The second-team offensive line left to right was Sean Tompkins at left tackle, Jaquan Sprinkle at left guard, Ryan Moret at center. Devin Harper was back at guard. Remember, he played tackle on Saturday, back at right guard on Tuesday. And then Darren Stray, the Kentucky transfer, was at right tackle. We saw a 7-on-7 period, and they went ones, twos, ones, twos. So it's 20 plays. One's got 5 plays, two's got 5 plays, one's got 5 plays, two's got 5 plays, 20 plays. The ball didn't hit the ground until the very last play of 7-on-7. And the only reason it hit the ground is because of an atrocious defensive pass interference by Michael Turner against Trey Wilson. And there are refs at practice, so flags were flying in from everywhere. I mean, he was beaten so badly, he just grabbed Trey Wilson to drag him down so he couldn't complete the catch, which I guess is a good defensive move. Don't give up the long catch, commit the penalty, and give up 15 yards. But all that to say, in 20 reps of 7-on-7, the ball never hit the ground. Now, there's no pass rush, but everything else, it's a fluid offense. So I think that's really encouraging. Malik Elzy scored a touchdown from Landon Clark, deep middle. He burned Michael Turner. Michael Turner had a tough day. Michael Turner's had a good spring camp. He had a tough day today. But Malik Elzy scored on a deep ball, probably about 45, 50 yards out. And then the other big play was a slant to Corey Barber with the ones. He was in the right slot, quick slant across the field, hit him. He went across the field, up the sideline. The only reason he didn't score is because Jace Thomas took a really good angle and forced him out of bounds before he could score. But it was a gain probably of 50 yards. So a lot of good from the offense. And the last thing we saw was an overtime period where just what it was. I mean, it was overtime 2-point play. And so they never got to the 2-point plays, but they went to overtime. So the offense got a series from the 25. Prince William Monmielen came up with a big sack, forced a 48-yard field goal from Scott Starzik, which he nailed. The twos went out there, and they scored in 5 plays. It was a 3rd and 5 from the 6-yard line. They threw a little wide receiver screen to Stacey Gage out in the right flat, and Gage was lined up as a receiver. He was split out wide. The running back was split out wide. They just hit him with a screen in the right flat, and he got into the end zone. So a really, really good day, again, for the offense against a defense that we all know is good and talented and deep and well-coached and all that stuff. And to see the offense still without their starting quarterback make the headway they have over the last handful of practices, I think has been really encouraging. So another really good day for the LSU offense. The Tigers will practice again on Thursday. There will be media availability for that. And they moved Friday's practice to Saturday, and that is not open to anybody. It's completely closed. So the final practice of spring on Saturday will be completely closed. So our last opportunity to see this team in spring will be on Thursday, of course. We'll give you a report then. All right, our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Whether you're at the box, whether you're at home, whether you're at your favorite restaurant, favorite watering hole, make sure you ask for it by name. The official beer of the defending baseball national champion LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, and the official beer of us here on AFR. So drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light and our friends over at Mockler Beverage. All right, y'all, it is after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll talk some Cruden with Shea Dixon. LSU, since last we spoke to Shea, has picked up 2 wide receiver commits, including one on Monday evening, as was expected. But we'll talk about Braylon Calais' commitment when we come back with Shea and a gigantic recruiting weekend with a dozen official visitors on campus. We'll recap it all with Shea Dixon next on AFR.
AFR.
Got a text on the show text line a bit ago. It said, hey, Matt, what's that mosquito thing that you talk about? It's worth mentioning. I know I mention it every year about this time. It's the Aeon mosquito barrier. You can find it at Clegg's. It comes in a box. It's a tube the size of a track baton. You take the top off. There's granules in it. You fill it up with water up to the fill line. You shake it up. You hang it on your property line. And just like that, you're done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. And it's like, I don't know, it's like $27, something like that. $30. So it's super affordable. If it doesn't work for you, okay, you're out $30. But I'm telling you, it's been terrific. Like, we have a pool and a pond behind our house, and we do not have a mosquito problem. And this is the only thing that I use. So it's affordable, and you can find it at Clegg's. It's the Aeon Mosquito Barrier. If you can't remember that, just go to Clegg's and say, hey, what's the mosquito thing that I hear Moscona talk about all the time? You can find it at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. So buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Did he do it again? Say it ain't so. Shea. I mean, we talk to Shea Dixon every Tuesday here. A couple of weeks ago, Shea no-showed, had us really worried. He was confirmed, and then we couldn't get a hold of him. And found out he fell asleep. I don't know what adult just falls asleep in the middle of the day and sleeps all day. But Shea is not answering the phone again. Muse, you confirmed with him, yes? You confirmed.
Yes, I can. He responded and confirmed. Yes.
This is so good. I almost hope he doesn't. I mean,
he's easy.
I want him to come on the show because I want to talk to Shea and do our recruiting segment and all this stuff. It's a big weekend. I mean, LSU got a commitment a day ago, and last night, as we anticipated they would, from Braylon Calais, but then a monster weekend with a dozen official visitors on campus this past weekend. So I want to get all the reaction and everything from Shea, but Law and Order LSU actually is maybe a little bit funnier than Shea actually coming on the show. So we'll see what might happen here. All right. If Shea jumps on, we'll go to him, but he's not here, so we'll just move on. I'll shift gears to what I was going to talk about at the top of hour number 2, which it's really unfortunate for LSU baseball, as we've now learned there are not one but 2 season-ending injuries for the Tigers. So we know Cooper Moore had been out, suffered the arm injury that had cost him to miss the past handful of weeks in the Southeastern Conference. Jay Johnson had told us last week that Moore would have been available for something. He was trending in that direction. They didn't call upon him in the Ole Miss series. And on his radio show Monday night, Jay Johnson effectively explained why.
So, unfortunately, on Cooper, we got a second opinion, and he's going to be out for the season. It's in his best interest, and the positive news is he will be on our team next year. So, it's a 4-month surgery and procedure. It's basically a broken bone in there that we got a second opinion, and the thought was he could throw through it, but what this does is allows him to recoup a medical red shirt and allow him to still be a junior next year, and he'll still have the junior leverage type deal in the draft.
So, really disappointing. And I want to be very clear. I don't think that this is Jay Johnson or Cooper Moore or LSU throwing in the towel on the season. Maybe you perceive it that way. I don't. I think arm care and big picture opportunity a lot of times is what guides these conversations as it pertains to young guys, especially pitchers and prospects. And I remember having this conversation with Paul Maneri when Zach Hess was sort of transitioning. Remember in 2017, Hess had that amazing season out of the bullpen down the stretch, and he was going to be transitioning into a starting role in 2018. And I remember asking Coach Maneri before that season started if they would consider using Hess similar to how they used Lewis Coleman. If you remember in the championship season in 2009, Coleman would close on Friday and then start on Sunday. And Maneri effectively said that's just not a thing that's realistic in baseball anymore because of arm care routines and all the different things and caring for prospects. And if you mistreat or misuse a prospect, then you're not going to get prospects in your program. So I think as you look at a big picture for Cooper Moore, it sounds like this is absolutely the best decision for him to not throw through it, but also for Cooper Moore to be able to have this procedure, take his time recovering, and then still with draft leverage come back next season and be a part of the rotation. And so as you think about what the rotation will look like next year with Cooper Moore, and obviously Kason Evans, William Schmidt, and then you have some really talented young guys like Marcos Paz, who's been outstanding here of late in his ascending. I think is no doubt going to be a weekend guy before his time at LSU is over. And then maybe what might you go after in the portal? I know it's strange that here on April the 21st we're talking about portal and next year, but it's sort of the hand that this team and Cooper Moore has been dealt as of this point. So it's unfortunate. It's certainly unfortunate it's happened this way because Cooper Moore returning would have been a real key cog into the possibility of getting on track and maybe making a push toward the postseason. I could have sold you on that if Moore returned to the rotation and Schmidt maybe move back to Sunday. It would give you an opportunity of these final 12 league games to find a better opportunity to find yourself toward 7 or 8 wins that you would need to get into the NCAA tournament. That just doesn't feel. It already doesn't feel realistic. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. And less so clearly without Cooper Moore. And then you throw on top of that the news that we broke earlier today at LouisianaSports.net. Was actually told this before I came on air yesterday that Jake Brown had broken the hamate bone in his hand. As we all know, that was the infamous Warren Morris injury, but wanted to make sure that we had it from multiple sources confirmed. And so sat on it yesterday and then was able to get multiple confirmations today that Jake Brown did, in fact, break the hamate bone in his hand. If you're not familiar, that's the bone. It's kind of on the side of the hand down near the heel, like your palm. And a lot of times you'll see that with guys who, from the reverb of like near the knob of the bat right there, which will cause that, that injury sometimes. Daniel Dickinson had this a year ago. Famously, of course, it's the Warren Morris injury, as we all know it. But, you look at Jake Brown, and it kind of, I don't know when it happened. I haven't been able to confirm when it happened, but I think you can certainly look at what has happened to Jake Brown over the last 2 weeks, and this probably gives you some explanation. So, Brown homered, if you remember, in his first at-bat of the Ole Miss series. Homered in his first at-bat on Friday night of the Ole Miss series. Since that at-bat, Jake Brown is 4 for 29. Just 4 hits, 12 strikeouts. He's hitting 137. Clearly, there's a correlation that somewhere in there is when this injury happened, and Jake Brown has been trying to gut it out, playing through a lot of pain, and it's not been good. In a weird twist of irony, this probably actually helps Jake Brown's draft stock because it explains the slump. You looked at this player who was surging up everybody's prospect lists and draft boards throughout the first 3 months of the season, and then, or 2+ months of the season. And then here over the last couple of weeks, you've seen that average just plummet mired amid this slump. Well, this sort of explains it. So we'll wait and see what the what the timeline is whenever Jake can't actually talk about this on the record. I'm told that surgery is necessary, and that will be season ending for Jake Brown. And this is a guy that leads your team in home runs, leads your team in RBI. So you're taking your biggest bat out of the lineup, which is just devastating for a team that's really struggling already. If you want to flip it to the positive, Jay Johnson on Friday talked about, I'm paraphrasing, but sort of relying on the guys in the program. Well, next year, you're replacing your entire outfield. Stanfield's out of eligibility. Curriell and Brown are going pro. So you're going to have an opportunity now over the final 4 weeks of the season to see a lot of William Patrick and Daniel Harden. William Patrick may very well project as a shortstop, but he's not playing shortstop right now. I mean, Stephen Milam's playing there. So I think for William Patrick and Daniel Harden, this is a great opportunity to get those guys ABs and to prepare for guys that could very well be starters in your outfield next season, to get sort of a jump start on that for next season. So it's not in any way what anybody wants. We all understand this has been a pretty miserable season, unfortunately. They've been snake bitten from the second game of the season with Chris Stanfield's hand injury, the Cooper Moore injury, now Jake Brown, Dardar sliding awkwardly into the base. It has just been, it feels like one thing after another, piling on a team that already had its own struggles. But Cooper Moore, Jay Johnson did confirm his season's over. And as we reported, Jake Brown's season over due to surgery on that hamate bone. We'll see if Jay Johnson will, in fact, confirm that. The Tigers play tonight against UNO, so Jay will talk to reporters after and see what he has to say about it. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR. We are brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Mother's Day is right around the bend, and so too is graduation. So if you're looking for something for mom, you can always thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Or maybe you have that graduate in your life. Beautiful pearls are always an elegant gift, great for graduation. Maybe a watch, a gorgeous timepiece. They have so many options for any budget at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. So go to any of the locations, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport. You can always shop them online 24/7 at lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill Mom this Mother's Day with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Any word from Shea?
No word from Shea.
Wow.
It's tough.
It's a tough scene over here.
It is.
I mean, this is shoe of the last 3 weeks now.
2 out of 3, yeah. Yeah.
All right, do we think Shea is sleeping? Do we... It's a little delayed there.
Yeah, sorry.
If you're going to do it. All right, so do we think Shea is sleeping? Do we think Shea forgot? Do we think Shea hates us and is just sabotaging the show? Do we think he just likes the chung chung sound or wanted to hear it? A, B, C, or D?
I'm going to go with A.
All right, let's make a Twitter poll.
I'm going to go with A.
Let's make a Twitter poll. Let's tag Shea in the Twitter poll. Make sure that he's aware whenever he comes to. I'm not going to throw in another choice in there, which would be like he's face down in a ditch somewhere.
Let's not do that.
I don't want that.
No. Let's not even put that out there. Yeah, let's not even put that out
there.
there.
Not going to do that. So let's go with those options and see what turns up. See what people think.
Okay.
Results on the next episode of Law and Order LSU.
All right, it's after further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Quick break. We'll go around the SEC. Stay here.
AFR.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com, complete employer solutions, glowresources.com, GLO. Remember, if you're hiring, Glow Resources can help you find the best people for the job you're trying to fill. What job? Doesn't matter. Any job. Skilled blue-collar labor. You need welders, pipe fitters, crane operators. They can help you find all those. Maybe you're looking for office jobs. Great. They can help you there as well. They're awesome at what they do at Glow Resources. They know the questions to ask to help you find the people that are going to make your business the most efficient and effective it can possibly be, and they handle every piece of it. They guarantee that they're going to find the right person. As a matter of fact, if the employee they find for your business doesn't work out, they will either give you a prorated refund or they'll find you a new employee free of charge. What do you got to lose? Be more productive, more profitable, more efficient. Let Glow Resources help. Check them out online at GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I make a little room and she climbs on up. I open up a throttle and stir a little dust. Just look at her.
All right, glad to have you aboard with us here. Draft, a little more than 48 hours away. We'll spend a lot of time today and tomorrow, obviously, leading you up to the NFL draft and all the storylines. This is a time where a lot of storylines abound, right? You're going to hear a lot of rumors. It's the old thing, almost like we talk about in coaching searches. Consider everything, believe nothing. Adam Schefter, as good a source as any when it comes to the NFL. He was on NFL Live, and this could be really, really compelling. Remember, a day ago, we talked about the possibility. There was the report from the Arizona Cardinals guy about the Saints and the Cardinals discussing a trade up from the Saints from 8 to 3. But Schefter is saying the Cardinals are at 3, and they're very much in love with the running back from Notre Dame.
A lot of people believe he's the best player in this draft. Now the question becomes, how high can he go? And there are people around the league who believe that Arizona will have him in the conversation to go number 3. The Cardinals are going to listen to offers for the 3rd overall pick. We'll see ultimately what they decide. There are many holes they have to address. But there have been people out there saying it could be difficult for them to pass on the best player if he happens to be there at 3, which we are expecting.
The hard, I'll just give you my read on this. Again, I don't cover the Cardinals. I don't know anything about the inner workings of that organization. What I do know is the draft, which we've watched and covered and talked about for a long time here. And with the draft, you always try to affect action throughout the draft using whatever leverage you can. It's almost like poker, where you may bluff. People use the phrase smoke screen a lot when we talk about the NFL draft. Well, this is one of those instances where everyone for the last month has assumed Jeremiah Love is going 4 to the Titans. Right? I mean, like, you look at the odds from our friends at DraftKings, everywhere. Like, Jeremiah Love, since the Combine, when he blew up, everyone has assumed he's not getting past 4, the Titans at 4, and that's probably where he's going to land. Well, if you're the Cardinals and you have the 3rd pick, and everyone is sort of assuming that running back, Jeremiah Love, is going 4, and now all of a sudden you're maybe leaking stories, giving teams something to consider. Hey, if you love Jeremiah Love and he's going at 4, hey, you float a story that we might be interested. Well, now all of a sudden our team's interested in maybe leapfrogging Tennessee to get to 3 to take Jeremiah Love. Or are there teams that want one of those elite defensive, one of those edge rushers? If it's Arvell Reese, if it's David Bailey, and you want to go up ahead of Tennessee and maybe get in that spot to take that player, effectively it's Arizona saying, like, I don't believe the guy, I don't even know his name, whatever his name is, the guy, the Arizona podcaster who put that out there yesterday. Like, I don't think that was just plucked from the air. I'm sure somebody told him that. I don't know who. I don't know how credible the person is that told him. But sometimes stories get leaked with intent. You're trying to affect some action. And so it kind of feels like Arizona, which parted ways with what they thought was their franchise quarterback in Kyler Murray, is very much in a rebuild, has a lot of needs, would be interested for the right price in acquiring more assets, similar to what the Giants just did. Again, with a young franchise quarterback in Jackson Dart. Now they got 2 top 10 picks. So it feels like it feels to me, again, outside looking in, that's what this is. But it's worth keeping an eye on. And I know we talked about it yesterday, but the Saints have done crazier things. We know Mickey Loomis loves to be aggressive in the draft. You do have an offensive-minded head coach in Kellen Moore. And if the New Orleans Saints do have Jeremiah Love as maybe the top player on their board, and they see him there at 3 and an opportunity to get in front of the Tennessee Titans, I mean, I think it would be stupid for New Orleans to trade up to 3 for any player in this draft when you're sitting at 8 and you're going to have great options at 8, and you have so many needs to give up perhaps your 2 and your 3. Like, I would make those picks and get 3 really good players that can help you over the next 4 years while they're on their rookie contracts affordably. But crazier things have happened. It wouldn't stun me to see the Saints leap up to 3 to take the player they love, be it an edge rusher, one of the guys you just mentioned, or Jeremiah Love. And I get it. I mean, they just paid Achin, so it wouldn't stand to reason, but they also restructured Alvin Kamara's contract so they could part ways with him. If that were the case, why not just cut him? Yeah, I don't know what direction they're going, but I always just kind of hold my breath with the New Orleans Saints because they're just not a patient team in the draft. They're an aggressive team in the draft, and when you're aggressive like that, you can be unpredictable, and the Saints tend to be that when it comes to the NFL draft. We'll see here in about a little more than 48 hours. All right, brought to you by Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. If you missed it, told you on Friday, reminded you yesterday, and Supper Club's back open today, so Tuesday to Saturday. But I was talking to Chef Layton last Thursday, and he got in 2 slabs of true Japanese Kobe beef. And look, if you love Wagyu, if you love rare, hard to find, almost impossible to find beef, you have got to go try this authentic Japanese Kobe beef that's at Supper Club. It's not like something that you can just keep on reorder. This is, I think, in the time that they've been open, the second time that they've gotten true Japanese Kobe beef over at Supper Club. It's if you've ever seen it, I think Chef's going to put a social post out there with it as well. It's got like the purple chrysanthemum on the end of the beef. You've probably seen it before if you're familiar, if you're a steak nerd, if you love great beef. But if you have never tried or have tried and would love to try again or ever wanted to try true Japanese Kobe beef, authentic Kobe beef, they have it at Supper Club right now. When it's gone, it's gone. It'll probably last a week, and it'll be gone. So highly recommend get by Supper Club and treat yourself to that experience of trying Kobe beef. It's at Supper Club right now. Perkins, near Bluebonnet. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. All right, it's after further review. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Forward Thomas is returning to Florida for his senior season. Entered the offseason as the number 12 player overall in the draft, as prospect the second best small forward, consensus second team All-American, first team All-SEC. Averaged 17 points per game for the Gators this year. Back for senior year.
The Auburn Tigers.
Sebastian Williams-Adams has pivoted. He will enter the transfer portal after previously announcing his return to Auburn. As a freshman, 6'8", 230-pounder, averaged 7 points and 3 boards his first season on the Plains. Auburn's already landed a couple of transfer big men on Monday.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss football has added a massive in-state offensive tackle. Kadero McDaniel, 2027 commit, 6'7", 325. Chose the Rebels over Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi State, North Carolina, Kansas. Ole Miss now has 7 commits for the 2027 cycle.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
4-star Ohio safety Tristan Hughes has committed to Kentucky over Virginia Tech and Purdue. Those were his other finalists. 5'11", 190-pounder, the number 21 athlete in the country, the 351st overall prospect. He's 9th commit for Kentucky's 2027 class.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
And Clark Lee has landed 3-star cornerback Matt Williams. He's out of Virginia, chose Vandy over Indiana, Maryland, Duke, and others. 6 feet, 160, the number 53 cornerback in America, the 12th best player in Virginia. He's Vandy's 4th commit for 2027. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. We are presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Bunkie and below, you want a deer, you're going to Sunshine. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com, sunequip.com. All right, y'all, it is after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR. Ben McDonald in 45 minutes. Get Ben's thoughts on what's going on with this LSU team, Cooper Moore's injury, who he'd like to see over the final month of the season, maybe take that step forward. We'll get to all that with Big Ben here in about 45 minutes from right now. All right, let me knock out a quick break. We'll continue. Speaking of the draft, Mel Kiper's put out his final big board, the top 150 prospects in the draft. And one of the guys that could push Mansour Delane to be the top cornerback taken in this draft might have just taken a big-time tumble. We'll explain. It's AFR.
After further review.
Saw my doc today, Dr. Curtis Chastain. Awesome dude. Been a huge part of my health journey and getting as healthy as I've ever been in my life. Another part of it as well has been my friends over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. Yes, Goodwood, funny name, funny logo. We talk about it all the time. Yes, they do ED treatments. If you have ED, they can help. Not being dismissive of that, but that's just one thing that they do. But for me and for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, not thousands, I haven't really asked that question. Is it hundreds or thousands of other men? They've helped with hormone replacement therapy. Every single human, as we age, our body produces less of the hormones that contribute to our performance and how we feel. Hormone replacement therapy, a simple blood test, can let you know if you're a candidate for HRT. Get back to feeling your best and your body performing in every function at its highest level. Learn more at YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
It really turns her on. She's always staring at me while I'm chugging along.
All right, Revenue Hour number 1. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Mel Kiper has got his final big board out for the upcoming NFL draft, which starts Thursday in Pittsburgh. The big board is not a mock draft. It's just a ranking of the top 150 prospects in the draft. It's no surprise to anybody. He's got Fernando Mendoza as the top prospect in the draft. He's got Jeremiah Love, number 2, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, David Bailey. That's your top 5. from Mel Kiper. Caleb Downs, another Ohio State Buckeye at 6. Jordan Tyson, the top receiver at 7, one spot ahead of Carnell Tate at 8. It'll be fascinating to see what happens with those receivers. By most accounts, Jordan Tyson, many consider to be the best receiver in this year's draft class. He's just had a checkered injury history, which could very well cause him to drop. If you're wondering, Mansour Delane, Mel Kiper has as the 14th best player in the draft. That's regardless of position, just again ranking the top 150 prospects in the entire draft. He's got Delane at 14. And that is about 15 spots ahead of the next highest cornerback that he has graded in this draft class. And that's Jermon McCoy from Tennessee, who Kiper ranks as the 29th best prospect in the draft. Again, just one man's opinion, just one man's ranking there. But McCoy is going to be fascinating because similar to Jordan Tyson, he was largely considered the best cornerback in college football a year ago, in 2024. Well, he tore his ACL last year in spring, missed the entire season. And so it's kind of been this strange question of, all right, what do you do now with Jermon McCoy, who was this incredible prospect, would have been the first cornerback taken, but he misses the entire season with a knee injury. And now there's a report that from Tom Pelissero of NFL Media that McCoy could actually be facing another knee surgery.
Let's talk about what this is and what it is not. It's not the ACL that he had reconstructed. My understanding is the ACL itself is fine. All the scans look good. The concern is about a bone plug that was used to repair a cartilage defect in his knee. Some of the doctors that have seen his scans are concerned that he will need another surgery to replace that bone plug, which would be an extensive recovery. We know this, Ian. McCoy feels good. He certainly looked it, ran really well at his pro day. In his mind, he is fully anticipating being ready to roll in the 2026 season. But you got 32 team doctors, 32 degrees of risk tolerance. Everybody is looking at this. This is a top 10 talent who potentially may not go that high, may not even go in round one.
So a couple of comps, and this does happen. Derry Beckwith, who's our good friend, who's an all-SEC linebacker at LSU. I remember Derry telling this story for a lot of years. Derry was a guy that most projected as a day 2 NFL draft pick, probably like a third-round pick as a linebacker. And he went undrafted because as he went through all the pre-draft testing and doctors looked at his knee, they determined that he had a shortened career span because of knee injuries. And so he went undrafted. He was off boards altogether. Arian Foster. Remember Arian Foster? He was a great running back at Tennessee. And ended up being a great running back in the NFL also. But he went undrafted because of injury concerns. Dylan Moses was a 5-star, number 1 player in the country, went to Alabama. He had a knee injury at Alabama, but had a really good career, a very solid career otherwise, but went undrafted because of the injury concerns. And there's a risk-reward there that teams have to weigh. Maybe the best example of that is Jalen Smith. Remember Jalen Smith, the linebacker from Notre Dame, who some considered back in that 2017 draft the best prospect in the entire draft, regardless of position. Well, he suffered that horrific injury in the Fiesta Bowl. I believe it was against Ohio State, and it was a great telltale of teams, of players why not participate in bowl games. Actually, Dallas drafted him anyway in round 2 at pick 34, early round 2, and effectively gave him a redshirt year. He didn't play his rookie year while he recovered. Ended up playing 7 NFL seasons. But again, a guy who saw his super, super high ceiling lowered as a result of that injury. So teams are going to have to decide what to do here with Jermon McCoy. But that's certainly to the benefit of Mansour Delane, who with Jermon McCoy having this injury question surrounding him, it very clearly opens up the path for Mansour Delane to be unquestionably the number 1 cornerback taken in the draft. It's just a matter now of where in the draft he's going to be taken. It's going to be in round 1. Is it top 10? Is it somewhere in the teens? That remains to be seen. But Jermon McCoy was really the only player that could have, in theory, pushed to be the top cornerback in the draft. Well, that's obviously going to be Mansour Delane now. So we'll see how it all plays out when the draft starts on Thursday. We're brought to you by Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com. Industrial Generac generator power. That's what we're talking about with Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com. Remember, we talk all the time about home standby generators. This ain't that. Arco, this is Industrial Generac generator power. These are generators for your business, and everything Arco does is turnkey. They can sell, service, install, rent your Generac industrial standby generator. Maybe you have a fair, a big carnival festival coming up. You need portable generators. They can help you there as well. Arco.com. ARCCO. Arco.com. Arco.com. Okay, y'all. SportsCenter's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. Come back. Kick off hour number 2. Will Wade's got a player.
After further review.
I got a text earlier today from my Uncle Mike. Shout out Uncle Mike Moscona, down in Canterbury. Got Parish Construction Roofing over at Uncle Mike's house. Big old project, man. This big giant canopy on the back of his house that had to be removed. They had to rebuild it. Some roof repairs needed to be done. Giant job, but illustrative of a couple things. Number one, my own family trusts Parish Construction and Roofing. And then also, number two, the scope of what we can do. Commercial, residential, repairs, replacements, gutters, soft wash, gigantic scope of all the work that we could do for you over at Parish. What I always encourage you to do, though, is to do business with someone you know. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. That's our website. Go there. You fill out the form on the homepage. We'll get in touch with you pronto. All over South Louisiana. Got our Austin, Texas office now open as well. So shout out to those Texas Tigers. Let them know. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parishbuilt.com.